So today we're going to look at where you are at in your grief journey and its connection to the holiday season. So the holiday season can be a tough one for many, many people out there. It can be overwhelming. It can also be something that maybe as time has gone on in your grief journey, you've become kind of adjusted to. And what we're going to look at today is how there's certain ingredients that can allow these few weeks, these few months to be a little less intense, and for us to feel aspects of joy or even peace at times. And you could say that's not possible. Well, I'd love for you just to hear me out and kind of roll with me with different things that I believe can help. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I believe there is no one way for each person to go through grief. Every single person's grief journey, it's your own. I have read countless grief books over the years. I've done talks about grief. Every single person is individualized. And so these few topics, if you will, these few suggestions come from my heart. And it's meeting yourself with where you're at. And I believe as we're already in the holiday season, I wanted to get this out earlier, but I just did it. It's kind of preparing ourselves, both our hearts and our minds, because that's really what it is. I believe if we kind of go into it cold turkey, we go into it with our eyes closed, it can kick our butts. And knowing that wherever you are at, whether it's been 30 years since you've lost that someone, whether it's been 30 days, it's meeting yourself where you're at. So again, all of these suggestions are going to come from my heart today. And as we go forward, it's knowing every little deep breath, every little step, it helps. For those of you who might be listening and thinking, well, how do grief and the holidays, how do they go together? For you to be able to not have suffered a loss is a wonderful thing. But knowing at some point in life, you will. And knowing, say 99.9 of you who maybe have not, know somebody, maybe you don't even realize it, who has gone through loss. When we take a step back and really think about during the year, their birthdays and holidays, man, are super duper challenging. And so when we kind of go in with the mindset of what do we need to do for ourselves, as well as for those who maybe it's being aware of what others might be going through, the aspect of empathy. So today, as we jump in, looking just a few different things that could hopefully ease and create a lighter, if I can use that word, holiday season. So the first one I want to look at is the aspect of being kind to yourself. Holy smokes, can we be really, really tough on ourselves when it comes to grief? We can come up with a timeline. This is where I should be, or this person, lost their sibling, and look how far they are, that they're able to put up a Christmas tree. Or look at, where, Susie lost her husband 2 years ago, and look where Susie is. So the judge and jury aspect of grief, you need to meet your heart with where you're at, okay? And so with that, the aspect of being kind, I always say kind is my favorite 4-letter word. We can almost more readily and easily be kind to others than kinder to others than ourselves. We could be really rough on ourselves. Dang it, I can't believe that I can't get out of bed. I can't believe, I walked through the store and a song came on and I started just bawling. Or I just regressed to, stop, drop, and chill. When it comes to grief, be kind to yourself. It is really important. And knowing this, that when it comes to the people that we lose throughout the course of our lives, I've even heard people say, well, it was 25 years ago, and why am I, that human being will forever hold a significant part in your life. And there will be different triggers that will happen. And you will feel differently with different relationships in terms of different losses. It's different. And that's okay. So maybe how it felt when you lost, your favorite aunt, compared to a grandparent, compared to a parent, compared to a sibling. And you're like, whoa, we're all over. Everybody's different. And I'm going to tell you, I really never understood the magnitude of that in my own life until not too long ago. I've lost close family members over the years. I lost, my aunt, my grandmother, an uncle, 30 days, a month before my dad passed away, and my sister passed away 25 years ago. And I will tell you, you feel different with every relationship. The loss is different, but it's not different. And it's okay to feel different emotions with different people. And even those relationships that you had with those different titles that people have in your life, you feel different. And do not allow yourself to judge yourself for how you're feeling if it's different. And it's really hard sometimes not to do. So be kind to yourself. It is so significant. And knowing this too, number 2 is it's a roller coaster. Loss, grief, and especially when it comes to the holiday season, it is like a roller coaster where you at times can feel like you forget to put on your seatbelt, right? You're like, please hold on to the bar. And you're like, there's no bar. And you're just going, baby. You are just going. And you're like these turns and these twists. Grief is a roller coaster. And so when I kind of connect to when we're at different places or with different people and different times of the year, different experiences, we will have different emotions. And so with that, there's no definitive guideline of how that is going to be for you. But knowing this, be kind to yourself. Knowing this, as you go into each and every day, it's taking a deep breath and allowing yourself to be kind to yourself and taking into consideration that you're going to feel different and saying, I'm going to go through this day. And I believe, I'm going to say honestly, particularly during the holiday season, it's taking a deep breath. And I ask God, please give me a sense of peace and wisdom and comfort during this time because it's really hard. It is really hard. And you can feel at times unhinged and question your sanity. And there will be times that you're just all over the place, your emotional ping pong ball. But what I will say is being kind to yourself and allowing yourself permission to also, number 3, be supported. Be supported. Do not try to go through the holiday season by yourself. It can be tempting to do. It could be tempting to stay in bed. It could be tempting to just try to say, we're going to see how it goes. I will encourage you to do your very best. I will say being vulnerable at times and saying, having that person, I need to go for a walk, or let's go for a cup of coffee, or you know what, giving people a heads up, these certain songs I just can't listen to right now. It's not being a downer. It's being proactive in where you are. Being proactive because it's okay when it comes to grief to not be okay. But I will say it's not okay to continuing not being okay long term. And allowing yourself to put yourself out there. And man, that's hard. It is really hard to say, this is where I'm at right now. And that doesn't mean you have to say it to a whole room, but it is allowing yourself, I believe this kind of having that grief armor, preparing yourself, because if we don't, it's like a steamroller. It's like a steamroller. And you owe yourself and to that person you love that ability to protect your heart to the best of your ability. Because when we go in solo, when we go in cold turkey, I'm going to say 98.97% of the time, we come out on the losing end. And there is a losing end when it comes to this stuff because it sideswipes you. It sideswipes you. It's I'm going to this house for Thanksgiving. We're going here, or we're going to stay at home for Hanukkah. Whatever it is, it's kind of and this takes energy, and man, can that stink sometimes. But I will tell you from the bottom of my heart, having some kind of thought process of, okay, to be fair to yourself, what is coming ahead when it comes to the day of that holiday? Or maybe there's been previous, you did things the day before something or the day after that are rituals. What are you choosing to do? Because it's a choice, and that can just wring the living heck out of you. But I will say from experience, kind of having some kind of game plan, and it could be maybe reaching out to a relative. It's reaching out to a friend and saying, can you help me through this? Because I can't even think straight. I can't even, my brain is a big cloud with fog and rain and all that other stuff. I need help. And it's okay to ask for help, even though it's hard. It is okay to ask for help. Going in to this with number 4, connecting to this, is it is having a game plan for the day. Having a game plan for the day that takes energy, but it does save on your heart. Are you ready to put up the Christmas tree? Is that something we just can't do? Is it going to just maybe the day of or the day going to look differently? And I know right now maybe your head's spinning like, I can't think of that. Or maybe you're 20 years in or 10 years in or 4 years in, and it's like, okay, where can you go? And how do we get our minds in that place that could be really hard to do? I do believe it's kind of having, I'm going to call it a wingman, a holiday wingman, really, really can make a difference and can help. The 5th one I want to look at today is making new memories. Maybe certain things that you've done in the past you just cannot replicate, or maybe it's not time ready yet. You're just not ready. It's finding some alternatives to things. Maybe it just looks differently this year, or it looks differently next year. But I want to remind you, going back to number 1, of being kind to yourself. We can feel guilty at times for smiling, being happy for the day of, could be conflicted, that roller coaster of feelings. And you know what? That's okay. That is okay. And it can all happen within a 60-second span of time. Grief is wackadoodle central, man. And maybe you're now going into the holidays and you live a few states away, a different part of the state. You live in a different part of the country. You live overseas. It's still having a game plan, because loss is loss, my friends. And it's not about letting ourselves just be depressed all the time, okay? And some of you might come down on me for this, but it's doing our best. So this is how I look at it. And man, it has taken me time, and I'm still struggling with it. That I believe, like I think about my dad, I think about my sister, I think about my grandma, my aunt, my uncle, and people that I carry in my heart. And who do you carry in your heart? And I believe in all my heart that I know they wouldn't want me to be depressed and super heavy that day, even though I'm conflicted about it, because it's hard. It is so hard. And believe with all my heart we carry these people with us. And I believe with all my heart that we are not meant to go through the holidays by ourselves. And that it can be really hard to extend our hearts or our hands to somebody. It could be really hard. But I urge you from the bottom of my heart to not go at it alone. And if you listen to this and you don't have somebody that you've lost, but you know somebody that has, write them a note. Give them a hug if they're not huggy people. Write them a note. Buy them a cup of coffee. Ask them if they want to go for a walk. Whatever their vibe is comfortable with. The holidays are hard for a lot of people. Just letting them know that you're thinking of them, a text, a phone call, a postcard, written mail is great. It's so rare. Snail mail it out, baby. Making the holidays a little less. And sometimes that person, you might be thinking, well, that person, I don't want to stir up emotions, or I don't want to get them upset. Yo, truth is, they are thinking about that person. They're thinking about those people. It's there. And just that little tap on the shoulder of saying, yo, I'm thinking about you. Hey, I just want you to know I'm thinking about you. I'm praying for you. I want to encourage you during the season. You need anything, I'm here. Whatever it is, be that advocate is awesome. And as we go forward, I just want you to know I'm thinking of you. I'm just continuing to do daily prayer for people, just for their hearts, that ache to be less acute, that heaviness on the shoulders to be less heavy, to be lightened, and to know that you are not alone. And asking and reaching out to that someone, or just lifting up your eyes and your heart and asking God for direction, for peace, and for comfort during a really tough time. But know you're awesome, know you are loved, and know that you're not alone. Wishing you a tremendous amount of peace, love, and goodness, my friends.